In this video, I'm going to go over my procedure for backing up user data in Windows. To start out with, let's look at the script. I'll open up Explorer. We'll go to the C drive, Users, User. Now in my case, I just have one user account here called User. Within this user account at the root level, I have backup and shutdown.cmd. If I right click on that and go to edit, this is my script for backing up. This is a link to the script file that I'm using. And it's a manual backup process. I'm going to have an icon on the desktop that you can click on to back up and shut down. And it uses Robocopy to back up. So I have source defined here, C drive users user. Destination is D drive backup user. Now we're going to actually change this to drive letter Z as in zebra. I specify the log file location, and I have the username right there as well. So if this were John Doe, you change that there and here so you can be able to see that username difference on the backup drive. I delete the pre-existing log file just because I don't want it to keep building up. I want the log file of the latest run of the backup. And I output to the user where the log file is located, and then what it's doing here, backing up source to destination. And then it backs up all the basic user folders. So we have contacts, we have desktop, we have documents, downloads, favorites, music, pictures, videos. Now I also have the option to do Outlook data and Thunderbird data in case there's an email client on the system and you want to also back up that data. Now in this simple case, I'm not doing that. I have these all remmed out, so these are not going to run. So what this does is it executes Robocopy commands for each of those folders. Now let's take contacts for example. It outputs contacts to the command prompt window. It doesn't do a new line, it just outputs contacts and then sits there and waits. It runs Robocopy. Now it's going to be outputting to the log file, so there won't be any output on the display. If there's an error with Robocopy, if the error level is greater than 7, then there was a fatal error, in which case it's going to go to this failure down here. But let's presume there wasn't an error. So in this case, it's just going to display done. So it's going to display contacts, ... and when it's successful, it's just going to output done on the same line. And then it's going to go on to the next folder to back up, which would be desktop. And it proceeds with that for all these folders. Now let's assume videos has an issue and it fails. So it displays videos ... to the command prompt window. Error level is greater than 7, so there was a fatal error. It jumps to failure, and down here failure, this turns the text red. It displays error on that same line, so it goes videos ... error, and then it displays under that data backup error. Check the log file for more information, and then it pauses. So that's the failure case. Now if it's successful, it's going to run through all of these Robocopy commands. It's not going to jump to failure, it's just going to keep on proceeding through, and then it will come to success here. This will turn the text green, and then it echoes a new line, and then it displays data backup successful, shutting down in 10 seconds. It has a 10-second countdown, and then it will shut the system down. Now I have this line remmed out just because I want to test it without actually shutting the system down. But if I wanted to start shutting the system down, I would just get rid of this, save it, and then it will perform a shutdown. Now going back up to the top here, I specified destination is going to be Z drive backup user. So I'm going to save this, and I'm just going to plug in a backup drive. This is just a flash drive. And we see it mounts as drive letter D. I want it to appear as drive letter Z though. So I right click on the Windows icon here, and I go to Disk Management. And here's my D drive. I'm going to right click on that, go to change drive letter and paths, and then change it from D to drive letter Z. And then OK, yes, and we'll close that. I like using Z for my backup drive letter just because I don't want any conflicts with other drives that might be plugged in. But you can select what you want to. Now you might want to have an external hard drive you plug in and occasionally run this backup. Though another slick option is to use a nano style USB flash drive that's a high capacity drive, or at least large enough for your user data. The nice thing about a nano style USB flash drive is you can plug it into a USB port and just leave it in at all times, which is especially handy on a laptop. You could even also use a SD card slot if you don't commonly use the SD card slot for memory cards. If you have one available, you can just get a high capacity SD card and just use that for backup. Though it tends to be the case that some memory card readers are rather slow and some memory cards might be slow compared to a USB 3 flash drive. So we have our script ready to go here. We're specifying C drive users user, because user is my username, and that's where my data folders are located. If I browse to that location, we see all the user folders here. Now the ones I'll be backing up are contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, favorites, music, pictures, and videos. So these are the 8 folders I'll be backing up to my USB flash drive. And again, I have the backup script residing in C drive users user. So let's take a look at this in action. Just to verify, I have my backup drive letter Z is plugged in and ready to go. Now I'm going to right click on my desktop and go to New, Shortcut, and I'm going to browse to where that batch file is located. I'm going to click Browse, and we're going to go to C drive, Users, User, and here it is right here, Backup and Shut Down. I click OK to that, and then Next. I'm going to call this Backup and Shut Down. And I also want it to look a little pretty here, so I'm going to right click on it, go to Properties, Change Icon, click OK. And I like using this icon here. Apply and OK. I'll just drag that over to the side, and let's run this. So there's quite a bit of data in my downloads folder, so it's going to take a little bit of time, but as soon as it's done, it's going to say done, and then go on to the next folder to back up. We see here it says logging backup results to, and then that's where the log file is located, and it's backing up data from C drive users user to Z drive backup user. So it completed, and it's saying it's going to shut down in 10 seconds. In this case, though, because I remmed out the shutdown command, it's not going to actually shut down. Now let's see what happens if I were to unplug my backup drive and try and run the backup again. We see it encounters an error, clearly because the backup drive isn't there, and it's also not going to shut down the system either. Whereas before, if it was successful, it would shut down the system if I removed the rem on the shutdown command. So this is a way to have a backup and shutdown procedure that will shut the computer down after a successful backup, but in the case of an unsuccessful backup, instead of shutting down the computer, it will just display this in red, and you'll know the next time you go to the computer that, oh, there was a problem. Now if we close this window, let's actually look at that log file. So I go to C drive, users, user, and here's the log file right here. User Robocopy backup.txt. If I open that, we see an error encountered right here, error 3. Getting file system type of destination. The system cannot find the path specified, clearly because we unplugged the flash drive. But let's plug the flash drive back in. And there it is right there. Let's just take a quick look at it as well. If we go to backup, user, 2.25 gigabytes of data. Let's look at our C drive, users, user. And let's look at the 8 folders we're backing up here. Contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, favorites, music, pictures, and videos. If I right click and go to properties, 46 files, 15 folders, 2.25 gigabytes. Now the reason this one is growing a little bit is because I'm currently recording a video right now. So let's run the backup again now that the USB flash drive has been plugged back in. It completed successfully, and normally it would shut down if we remove rem from the shutdown command. If I right click on backup and shut down and go to edit, that takes me to the script again, and I can scroll down here and remove rem, save this, and now the next time that I run this, if I don't close this window in 10 seconds, it's going to shut down the system, so I'll close it before it does that. So that goes over my simple process for using Robocopy and scripting to allow one to do a simple backup and shutdown on the system, and also check for error cases where if an error is encountered, we don't want the system to shut down. We want to display an error message to the screen so the next time we're in front of the computer, we see that there was an error and we can investigate the log file further.